Hello and welcome back to the vlogs. It has been 2 weeks since I filmed a vlog. I'm really sorry. Life happened. The first week I had a really bad body dysmorphia week, body image issue week, however you wanna frame it, call it, whatever. I just couldn't look at myself. I didn't want to edit anything. I didn't want to film anything. Like, one thing I really underestimated is how much you stare at yourself filming yourself. And yeah, it really got to me. I couldn't look at myself. I didn't want to. And then I got really sick. So yeah, I spent my birthday sick with a pretty doable cold, but like it knocked me out a little bit. And then yeah, it just doesn't want to go away. I'm feeling mostly fine. I'm still having the sniffles. Hopefully I can cut it out as best as I can for the vlog because I'm feeling fine. I even did a workout this morning, so physically I'm fine. My nose doesn't want to stop running. But I did want to start filming again. I filmed for Thursdays, which you will have seen, which but in the last video I uploaded before this one. A lot has happened since I last talked to you. Obviously it has been 2 weeks. I read, I think, 4 books in that time frame, which you will have to watch next week's video for the wrap up because it wouldn't make any sense to talk about all of them in this video. Um, I finished my sweater before my birthday. I actually was able to wear it for my birthday, and yeah, I really love it. I think this is the first sweater I actually made the arms long enough. So yeah, maybe I have long arms or everybody else in the knitting community has short arms. I don't get it, but yeah, I had to lengthen them quite a bit to fit me. But yeah, I love it. It's really comfortable. I managed to re-dye my hair. I rearranged my whole apartment. I was pretty busy, to be honest. I just really needed that. Every time I'm feeling down about kind of life, myself, work, I do like to rearrange things instead of like going out and buying things, because rearranging gives you like a new feel about your apartment without spending money. So my workstation is now in my library. It feels a lot more cozy. It is great. So I'm spending like pretty much most of my time now here in this room, but it's really nice. I love it. And we like before that my desk with like my PC, my laptop, and stuff like that for work and for fun was in the living room, and I hated that. It always looked cluttered and way too busy, and like half of an office, which if you don't have the space, totally fine, but we have the space to not have our living room cluttered like that. So now our living room is just a living room with a dining room attached. We have like an open living room kitchen thingy. And this room is like my office and my library and my craft room all in one, and I'm really loving it. I will show you a video of how it looks. Obviously it's still messy. I want to rearrange the shelves because obviously I need to be able to put everything away and stuff like that. It's a lot I still have to do, but I'm really looking forward to it, to be honest. I'm just, yeah, it was time for a change like this. Reading wise, I am currently reading this book, which is the newest Evernight book that I got. I'm not so sure about the book. This is You Weren't Supposed to Be Human. You weren't meant to be human. I don't know if I like the topic of the book. This definitely isn't a book I would have chosen if I would have bought it myself. It is a horror book about these weird hive insect thingies, which is what is on the front here, which seem to help people who are desperate, who try to kill themselves, who are in really dire situations, and they help those people. They I don't know if they go into the people, but something is happening there. And then the people are kind of working for the hive and they kill other people to feed the hive. Something like that. Our main character is trans and he works at the gas station where the hive is located. And I'm at a point in the book now where he is finding out that he's pregnant. The book has a lot of violence in it, a lot of sexual violence. There is a disclaimer in the beginning of the book, which I can quickly read you. The author's note says, in addition to a graphic focus on pregnancy, miscarriage, abortion, and childbirth, You Weren't Meant to Be Human contains depictions of suicidal ideation, self-harm, violence, sex, and abuse. Sometimes alone, sometimes combined, sometimes indistinguishable one from the other. I don't know if I like that as a topic in a book. I'm gonna have to be honest. I dislike a lot of things that correlate with pregnancy. I never want to have children. Even if I would have wanted children, I probably would have adopted some. I don't like the idea of childbirth. I think it sounds horrifying, which, is a personal topic. But for me, I don't enjoy books about that. And the beginning has already been quite violent, and it is consensual violence with sex, but I don't like that. I think it's totally fine if you enjoy that and if you want to do that. I personally feel really uncomfortable with that, just as a concept, to be honest. And I've realized that I also feel uncomfortable in a book form with that. So I will try to give this a good shot, but it might just not be a topic for me. Even wrapped up in horror, it doesn't seem to make it better for me. Like, it wouldn't be good without horror, but like, I feel like the horror isn't alleviating my discomfort with those topics. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a good try. I think I'm like 50 pages in. But I don't know if this is really a book that I will enjoy, to be honest. So yeah, we'll see. But I have started this. I will continue today a little bit and then tomorrow, and then we'll check back in and we'll see how I am doing with the book. Other than that, I was pretty busy knitting. I am making good progress on the sweater for my partner. Let me show you how it's looking right now. This is the front. This is how far I've come. I am working on the sleeve right now, and the front is like a third of the way through, something like that. My partner is just he has such a long torso, it's taking forever. And yeah, this is how far I've come with the first sleeve, but it is a lot of fun working on this, and I have so many ideas, stuff I want to do. Like, I'm really motivated. I think it really was kind of good for myself to take 2 weeks off of filming and editing and stuff like that. So yeah, I hope you are okay with that. Not that I could change it now, but hopefully it's okay. But yeah, so the rest of the day, I mean, Mondays is always a lot of work. So the rest of the day, I'm probably gonna chill, play some, and do a little bit more of knitting, and then we'll see how far I can get reading wise. Okay, it is Tuesday now. I haven't made any progress with yesterday's book because I did decide to grab a second book to read in parallel to it. Mostly because I really want to read the other book, but I feel like I need to read it slower to not overwhelm myself with the topic of the book, because I do really want to read it. I just think I get easily overwhelmed with negative topics and topics I might struggle with. And so to kind of negate that, I felt like picking up a second book that is more on the entertainment side of things, even though it is a thriller. I felt that might make a little bit more sense and give me like a day or two in between reading the other book, which is on that shelf there. So that is what I did, and I read 50 pages of Kiss the Girls so far, which is a thriller by James Patterson. It is your typical thriller. I do think there's a TV series about it. I'm not 100% sure, but the detective is called Alex Cross. And he has 2 children. He lives in a pretty bad neighborhood, but tries to help out here and there in the neighborhood. And in this book, I don't quite know if it's really relevant to the rest of the story, but I do guess it's relevant to the overall plot through all of the books. But he gets called by like a junkie in his neighborhood, and she's like, oh my god, I found this boy and he has blood all over him, and he brings the boy to the hospital. The boy dies. So far as I know, it was a suicide because of these circumstances the boy lived in, because his parents are junkies and they have like a junkie house, and he is like the little boy needed to be a drug mule pretty much. So yeah, that is what we're starting the book with, and then we have our serial killer who kills girls, women, maybe boys as well, but I'm not there yet. And so we get his perspective, and then we get the message that the niece of our main character has vanished already for 4 days, and the police didn't like tell them until 4 days after the vanishing, and they think it's because of the FBI, because it might be like a big investigation. And I'm guessing that she got kidnapped by the villain who calls himself Casanova in the story. And yeah, we'll see. We don't know if she's still alive. We don't know how long he keeps his victim, so that is what we're still seeing. But our main character and his partner, they are now going to where she is living to start investigating, and they probably will have problems with the FBI or the local police. That is what I'm guessing, because that is where these stories are often going, but I don't know yet. So yeah, I'm 50 pages in. I'm enjoying it so far. It's like your pretty average thriller. Nothing groundbreaking, but nothing bad so far. So yeah, we'll see where this is going, and then we'll see where the other book is going. But I think it might be a good contrast to have like one more depressing horror book and then a more entertaining thriller, and to switch between both, so I can get through the more darker book that I might not get through if I read it like in one piece pretty much, because just the topic is really, really dark, and I'm kind of afraid where the book is going, and I want to make it through because I do think it might be a really good horror book. It might just be too much horror for myself, which, you know, I'm open to that. I enjoy horror books, but I am somebody who, I don't enjoy the thrill of horror books, but I do enjoy horror books. It's kind of a weird thing. I also have that with horror movies. There are certain horror movies I do enjoy quite a bit, but there are a lot of horror movies I just cannot get through. So yeah, I'm mostly afraid of like clowns and dolls. My grandmother had like a doll collection, and they were so creepy. like these ones with the really realistic eyes that can blink. Yeah, I'm not good with that. So yeah, but that is what the reading is doing. I'm nearly finished with the first sleeve of the sweater from my husband. So this is how long it is so far, and I just measured it off of him, and I need to do 8 more centimeters. So 2 more in stockinette, and then I'm doing 6 centimeters of ribbing, and then I'm finished with the first sleeve, which is actually really, really nice. So yeah, that is also going well. Work is a little bit frustrating, but when in this, that not. And yeah, that is kind of where we're at right now. And so yeah, I will see you once I have more of that check-in reading wise, which I don't know when that will be, but it will be at some point. Okay, let's talk reading updates. I didn't check in with you yesterday because I was really tired yesterday, so I decided to focus on reading and skip the filming, which I hope you're okay with. I think like 2/3 of the way through, so I will finish this one tomorrow. I think this is pretty much what I expected, like a pretty solid, average thriller. The story is interesting. We have one girl that escapes and can then try and give information, and we still have missing girls, and we have this whole like thing of why can he get so many girls without being caught, and you know, pretty like, you know, how a thriller goes with the, I think the background of the main character being black, which does impact the book quite a bit because of how he grew up and society's, you know, expectations, how they view people, racism as always being a big problem. So yeah, that all plays into the thriller. I don't think it's a standout thriller. It's your pretty average thriller, which I'm totally fine with. I'm really happy with that. That is what I expected, and that is what I'm getting, and I'm really fine with that. I think the case is interesting. I think this one I actually do like a little bit better than the other one I read. So with that, I'm really happy. And yeah, I think I will finish this tomorrow. And yeah, then I will have finished the first of the 2 James Patterson. Obviously, I'm not gonna go into detail from the story because I feel like spoiling thrillers is pretty dumb, because otherwise it makes no sense for other people to read them. So yeah, just know that the case goes in an interesting direction, and we do have one woman, girl, it's college aged, like she's college aged, that escapes and can give not many, but a little bit of like an idea what happened and the circumstances. And we do get her point of view, we get the killer's point of view, we get our main character's point of view. So there are a couple of points of views, which obviously give us a little bit of insight what is happening on each side. So yeah, I think it's really interesting. I really like it, so I am enjoying that read. The read I'm enjoying a little bit less, though not necessarily because the book is bad, is the horror book. I am at page, I think, 110. So I think I'm like a third of the way through the book. Yeah, a third of the way, which I'm really happy with the progress. I don't think the book is bad. I just have a really hard time with the topic, because now that our main character is pregnant, he is forced to be pregnant, which I have a big problem with. Obviously, it fits into the book. It fits into the theme. It's totally fine in the confines of the book, but it makes me deeply uncomfortable, which might be what the book wants you to be, but I have a hard time feeling that while reading. And then we also have like the consented violent relationship, which I have a hard time distinguishing what, like, our main character, he's like, yeah, I know what I've gotten into with the relationship, but he also doesn't really have the ability to go. So I feel like as much as it might be intended that the relationship is consensual, I feel like once you don't have the choice of leaving, consent kind of leaves the room. I don't know if that's what the book wants me to see, or if that's just my interpretation of what is happening in the book. But I'm feeling so uncomfortable reading the book. And I mean, that is kind of like, you could say the book is doing a really great job of conveying that, but it obviously makes the whole experience reading the book not positive. Normally, if I have like a horror book where like it's supernatural stuff, like I enjoy reading about that. I don't enjoy the process of reading this book, but I think that is what kind of makes it a good book. But it makes it really hard for me to kind of glimpse like what I want to give it rating wise, because I feel like the book is doing a good job of making me feel things. On the other hand, I'm not enjoying this process at all. So yeah, I'm a little bit. It's really hard to describe my feelings for this book. So far, I feel like it's like less horror book and more like horrible circumstances for our main character in the book with no way out, seemingly so far, and being forced obviously to carry out this pregnancy that doesn't seem to be human, and then all of the feelings that come with being trans. I don't know how scientifically accurate it is that the main character could still get pregnant. I don't have a lot of experience with that, but I do know that depending on what you take as medication, technically you're supposed to become, not supposed, but it's like a side effect of transitioning and taking hormones is becoming sterile. So I don't know how accurate the science is on that part. I would think it might be accurate because, as far as I know, the author is also trans, so they might have like an experience when it comes to those facts, but I knew different facts. So that is something I'm not quite sure about, how realistic that is. But the topic is a really, I think, important topic to talk about. All of the things that are in this book, it just makes me so uncomfortable because I cannot deal with people being forced into those situations. I feel so horrible about that. And yeah, I can't tell you if I think it's a good book or if I think it's bad or if I just cannot deal with the topic of the book. I'm really sorry. I cannot put it into words, really. Not even in German. Like sometimes I'm struggling with the English words, but like I can't even put it into words in German because I just do not know how to feel about the whole experience of reading the book. But that might be a good thing. I don't know. That's just how my feelings are right now. So yeah, I hope you can kind of understand where I'm coming from. If you read the book as well, maybe leave your opinion down below and how you felt. But yeah, I'm hoping I can get it across, and we'll see how the book continues. I'm hoping I can finish it this week. It might be at the beginning of next week because it's just really hard to read for me, to be honest. So yeah, that is where we're at right now with the reading. I will check back in with you once I finished Kiss the Girl, and then we'll see what I give that one. But like, so far it's like solid three stars, you know. So it is Friday, the end of the week, and I finished Kiss the Girls, which I'm giving it 3 stars. I feel like it's a pretty solid thriller, but it has nothing like really standing out. I also have to say, I'm fine with the main character. I don't love him. I think that was the same in the first one I read from James Patterson. I just feel like I don't really care all that much for the main character, emotionally, which like makes it less thrilling, I would say. I feel like he has his ideals that he stands up for. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, he's like, you know, a bad main character or something like that. I just feel he has a pretty flat personality. Like, most of his characters defined by what he does for others, and through his children. So yeah, I feel like he could have had a little bit more personality, if you want to call it that. But yeah, I think the ending was fine. I think the story was fine. If you want like a solid thriller and you've read a lot of them already, I don't think you can go really wrong with picking these up. I just wouldn't expect anything groundbreaking, which I feel for a lot of thrillers. Okay, it is Saturday now. I'm really sorry that the last clip is really cut off. I had to go to the door and I forgot to check in back in with you and continue the clip because I don't know. I was tired. I was a little bit what's the word? Distracted by like packages and stuff like that for our neighbors. Because our mail guy knows that we work from home, so he knows that we're normally here, and so he gives us all of the packages of the neighbors that aren't here, which we're totally fine with. Our neighbors are really thankful for that. But yeah, I was really distracted by that, so I didn't check in with you again until I finished this one. I forced myself to finish this. I have to say, I don't get the reviews of the book. I just looked them up because I wanted to know what other people thought about the book, and it has 4 stars on Goodreads. Maybe it's just not the book for me, which I'm totally fine with. I can understand that maybe other people would like it. I feel like the book was brutal for the sake of brutality. I do think the topics discussed in the book are pretty important. The forced pregnancy, the abusive relationship that started consensual, maybe not. It's really hard to tell for me in the book, but that did turn to not be consensual. And then our main character not being able to leave, and all of that, I think, are important topics. But I feel like there's so much brutality in this book that is just there to kind of show how dark the world is and how brutal the situation is, that I don't feel is necessary. I think this is something I have talked about in for other books already, but I hate violence for the sake of violence in films, in books, in media in general. I'm not a fan of that, and I do get that that is a pretty personal thing. but yeah, I dislike that. I think there's always a different way to show how dark a world is. We don't necessarily need sexual violence against women or nonsense violence against everybody. That is something I'm gonna stand on. That is a point I'm gonna make again and again, because I think there are different ways to show how dark something is. If you want to talk about a kind of like a important topic, I think I need to kind of rationalize what I just said. This book, for example, this book is full of violence because of violence, but it is made in a funny, cheeky way, and it's not to show how dark the world is, it is to make a point. So here in this book, which is the library at Hellebore, in my opinion, it worked really, really well, because the violence is just to show that these people, whether they want to or not, are put into situations where they keep on hurting people and they keep on killing people, and that is what is happening in the book, to underline what is happening with these people. Because Hellebore is like a school where people get sent who have special abilities and they are always negative. So in that book, in my opinion, it makes sense. In this book, we have people who die that could just leave. Like, there's no reason for them to be dying, in my opinion. I don't get why they had to die in the book, other than to uphold this like feeling of our main character can't leave, but he can't leave anyway because of his partner. Because his partner is like the biggest threat, and so the other people that get talked about, who got killed, who are in these like violent situations, it's just senseless. It's a, like, I don't get why it's in here. I think the point could have been made without them, and I don't think they add anything to the story. I think that is my main point. I didn't enjoy the story. I think that might be something I talked about in the beginning of this blog. I don't necessarily enjoy pregnancy as a topic for a couple of different reasons. But yeah, I haven't yet read a book where I found a pregnancy in any way an enjoyable topic to read about, which is a pretty personal opinion, so obviously that's just me. If I would have seen this book in a bookstore, I wouldn't have picked it up, and I think that is the gamble you take with books. I haven't decided on the rating yet. I'm between 2 and 3 stars. The 3 stars would be because it's a topic I don't particularly enjoy, but I didn't go out and buy the book, so it feels kind of unfair to give it less of a rating because I didn't enjoy the topic of the book. But on the other hand, I found so much weirdness in this book, so much that I just think was, I don't know. It didn't. I think the story, like the whole part of the story, could have been told in so much less of a book, but then it wouldn't have made a book. I feel like this would made of a lot more sense to me as like a short story, and I think that is why I didn't enjoy the book, because it felt like a long drawn out short story filled up with senseless violence, in my opinion, about a topic I didn't really enjoy. Also, abusive relationships I cannot deal with, just because it's so bad what is happening every day for so many people and what they suffer from. And I don't know, I never thought to myself I would want to read a book that centers solely about being in this relationship and not being able to leave. That's just really like a personal dislike for the topic, which it's the same way I'm dreading reading Rose Madder, yeah, by Stephen King, because that is also about an abusive relationship, but there she has escaped and she's on the run pretty much, which is, I think, a part of the story that I'm enjoying much more. But that is just personal preference when it comes to stories. So I feel like there are points that I can critique with this book that I think aren't done very well, and then there's the point of me not enjoying the topic. And if you do think that would be a topic you would want to read about, I would say pick the book up. because I think it's a topic that we don't see all too often in this combination. In like a horror book, I think this would have made a little bit more sense, or like a little bit better of a story, in my opinion, as like a contemporary fiction instead of a horror book. But yeah, I think the situation is just horrible enough in itself. I don't think we needed the horror aspect of it. Maybe that works for some people, it doesn't work for me. I'm really sorry about that. But yeah, so we're gonna go somewhere between 2 and 3 stars. I might just give it the 3 stars because it's not a topic I enjoy, but I feel unfair judging a book about that I did not pick up because I thought it would be a topic I enjoyed, which I hope is makes sense for you listening. Hopefully, I don't know. Sometimes I have problems articulating myself. So I hope that this kind of made sense, what I told you just now. But yeah, I did manage to finish both books this week. Admittedly, I speed read the last third of the book. I have to be honest. I'm totally fine with that. I don't think that's a problem. Where you like normally I'm somebody who reads pretty much every word in a sentence, and there I was just like flying through sentences. So I still get the story, but like I won't remember the details of the story, which I think is fine. But yeah, what a mixed reading week. Not the best one, but I had the hopes that I would like the horror book, but you can't love them all. To be honest, I'm still happy to have gotten the book because with every book that I read that I don't enjoy, I kind of find more of which topics I want to pick up and which I don't want to pick up. So I always think it's helpful to also read books that you don't enjoy, just to, hone your reading interests in like more of a specific way. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this vlog and me being back. Hopefully we can now get a vlog every week. Yeah, one last update before I will end this vlog. I can give you an update on my partner's sweater because I did a lot of knitting yesterday, and I have finished both sleeves now. It's so long. Look at how big the sweater is compared to me. But yeah, I'm now on the body. It will take me a bit to finish the body because yeah, my partner has a really long torso, so it's a lot of knitting. But yeah, I made a lot of progress and I'm really happy with that, so I wanted to show you that just to give you a little bit of an update where I am with that right now. So yeah, I will pick now a book for starting tomorrow because today I have read more than enough. And yeah, hopefully I will see you in the next vlog. I hope you enjoyed this vlog. If you have any an opinion you want to share to the 2 books I read this week, please do that. I love to hear other people's opinions about the book. And yeah, hopefully I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Maybe if you would like to, you could subscribe to the channel. That would be really, really nice. And yeah, hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.